Hi, Tim Young here. Just checking in to do a quick video. Um, I've had some benevolence in 15 years, those that um, signed off on my targeting have expressed some interest in maybe pursuing a FISA court and talking to a Multnomah County judge to talk to the secret court that in 2004, when September the 11th hit, I was taken up along with a lot of MK Ultra soldiers and people that have had to make sacrifices. I'm not the only target that ever was. There's 1.5 million of us, and it's been a evening. I had a person who had control of my R&M turn it down for a while. I remember this happening some time ago. It makes it so this it's really a lot harder to hear them, like in the EMF around here, or making my mind a sender. And it felt so nice. I um, started to cry. It had been a while since I had um, some quiet in my head. Tried to really appreciate it. And these are my tortures are really smart and in protocol affect only faked stupid voices. And it's deceptive, and it's been a good realization through some dialogue over these last years. The verbal combat. It sounds like you're talking stupid, but it's really neurolinguistic programming. It's very painful. It was nice over the last 2 days to be like, I remember back in, when in 2013 when I was at Spruce, like you talked about how from the monitor perspective, and I didn't have the verbiage to be like the monitor perspective, the NSA monitor perspective that Kevin Christian uses in that analogy, that with the advantages of that and your consciousness being thrown there, you have a lot of advantages over 3D, particularly if you're reading their minds. So from that perspective, we are so manipulatable. It's really advanced technology. They sound like they're affecting stupid voices. None of my perfs have been stupid. And um, I may have an avenue through a FISA court and maybe getting a reverse judgment, talking to a Multnomah County judge and talking to NASA or NSA. Hi, NSA. Um, and see what I can do to get a formal uh, reverse order from a judge after 15 years of deep state target torture. I can say that I've lived through expert and not like torture on behalf of interests that keep America and the world safe. I took for granted the structure of America that kept my insular community safe, and I took for granted the on pain of death massive military and all the sacrifices that men and women make all over the globe, particularly after September the 11th, um, and the over um, lay between government and things like the military and the intelligence community. And I don't think I could have picked a worse major, but I'm not going to hold it against the intelligence community or Bloody Gina. Um, I want to move forward, see if I can get a FISA court and get my R&M removed after 15 years. Everybody that's had my R&M, I hope you've enjoyed it. You may have never known it was me. Some of my perps have made it so that because I was being punished for being a TI, that you may have enjoyed my consciousness, but we'll never meet. And they want to make sure that we never meet because you're not supposed to like me. Um, for those that have been receivers and whatnot, you may have been told some ill reasons why to pick on this TI. I got in for bad reasons. I'm working with somebody about the possibility of a FISA court, maybe intervention or reverse order, and talking to the Multnomah County judge that after 15 years of targeted individual status, Tim's done his time and deserves to be let free, and then I can grow up a single video game playing old man. If the FISA court thing works out, maybe they'll turn off Project Mockingbird for me and I'll be able to watch television again and then die a old man, hopefully. So some of those in my R&M and the EMF who can transfer their consciousness to these modern consciousnesses and their bodies in another location where, and I were just talking about the possibility of life after death and life after death in the EMF, and then my plans with the black Swiss cheese holes. I'm going to do everything I can. Hopefully this video records and I can put it out there. But after 15 years of corrupt for me in my situation, but extrajudicial punishment, intelligence agency torture. I think it would be prudent and in the best interest of me and hopefully the NSA and whoever would handle the proceeding to finally give me my mind back. And I'm 40 now, maybe 67 years 7 years old, go my own way. If there's life after death, I really do still intend to keep my plan to go out the Black Swiss cheese holes, which I think a lot of us came through at some point. So if after death you see them too, you may want to check that out rather than getting reincarnated at the moon. But so far, some of my best hope input from a merciful feeling R&M observer is that I talked to the Multnomah County judge and see if I can get a reverse order on a FISA court thing, and forgive the NSA and all. There's just so much evil in the world. Like in you're young, you grow up in this place. I grew up in a great community. With the oh crap button of September the 11th, and he got set up for that. I totally forgive Bush. And it's not like I did 20 years in federal prison for something I didn't do, although that may have been better than the CIA torture. But I think I hope after 15 years I can get this gang and everybody to not send senders in my brain. And I'm getting help from a merciful R&M observer who's talked about FISA courts and the Multnomah County judge. And then died a lonely old man. And if there's life after death, my fail-safe instructions about getting out of the portals, the Black Swiss cheese hole portals, and then on to non-reincarnation is my plan there. But I want to see if the FISA court will take some mercy on a POW. Plus, if I can pass that information around it, I mean, everybody can, about the Black Swiss cheese holes and not incarnating, like, that'd be a good reason to help reward me too with no more TI status, is that that may be really helpful information for people out and after moments of death to not go to the white light at the moon, to move on. So I hope this video takes. I'll see if it uploads, but that's some of the stuff that I'm enduring. It was such a nice moment of quiet where they turned it down so they don't talk so directly into your head. I cried. I was pretty emotional with the silence. It's been every 15 to 30 seconds. Strict protocol. I underestimated, this stuff, being mind controlled, tortured, targeted individual made by the CIA during the September the 11th time. And then at the same time, MK Ultra soldiers who are also getting signals going over to the Middle East too and fighting over wars. We've all suffered so much. I'm more of a domestic POW, but it still was war. And I feel like I deserve to be free. It was for corrupt reasons, but I'm not so worried about tuition. I have no interest much in governance at all. I have maybe 20, 30, at most 40 years left on Earth, and then I plan on going back out those Swiss cheese holes, so I'm going to do what I can to see if the feds would let me go and make some amends, and then do what I can to give good advice about after death stuff. I want everybody to know I totally forgive Bush, and it wasn't only the torture. I'm older and wiser. I was so young, and the president, and I don't know who really called the hit out on me, but it was 2004 after September the 11th. It's a really tough world, and I happen to be Buddhist, but the biblical notions about kings of the earth and their responsibilities, like, I'm a blue state Democrat. I was pretty hardcore partisan Republican, but with all the criticisms I've had and some of the things I've seen and being tortured, I really do forgive President Bush, and I hope people wish him well on his next round. I hope he knows to evac and to not go to the moon. Even if you're a king of the earth, they're still gonna fucking memory wipe you. Just ruthless is my understanding. So I hope he knows to evac too. And a friend that I knew in high school, I think knew somebody that knew his daughter, and it's a small world. We have one left law operation still going on in Afghanistan after the first one. We're out of Iraq. Um, I think it's time to tone it down domestically. At least with me as a particular TI, I really deserve my mind back. There may have been heated moments and after the a terrorist attack that was false flagged. I mean, that was contrived on U.S. soil. I think it's time for us to maybe settle down, at least for me as a TI in Oregon. Um, in my time, I still invented the newspaper comment section as a mind control slave. I worked on a $6 million endowment for Oregon students. Um, helped try to expose this, but they're so good at their jobs. Like I feel like it only worked harder against me, and some other criteria that I think would be deserving of a review of extrajudicial punishment. I really didn't deserve it, and people just, gang stalkers will make up reasons for torture. Oh, and then sharing after death corroborated info on the Black Swiss cheese hole pool rules. But I'm very serious. As a remote neural monitoring slave beginning in my dorm room in 2004, the structure that later became the newspaper comment section was first conceived of me and observed at the U of O and fed up to frickin' supercomputers in wherever they keep them. My mind was already being observed. And, it's charity. It was trying to speak truth to power. But it pales so much. I mean, I don't want to get emotional, but it pales so much to the suffering of the TI. And um, I hope for some. I've had some mercy shown today. I hope for more mercy, possibly with the decision to take me out of the program finally and get old, and be a hermit, and not take anything too personally, like community slander or CIA tactics or people's opinions. I can tell you one thing. I can say I have a pretty good distaste for politics. Like I would rather enjoy the rest of my life with no more voices in my head and forgive everybody and not be trauma based, mind controlled into anger and things like that. So if you see this video, thanks for listening. I love you, targeted individuals.